President Trump's nominee to head the FBI, Christopher Wray, faces the Senate Judiciary Committee on Wednesday. I took the liberty of writing 20 questions I thought the senators should ask him. Here are a few of them. Number 4. Has President Trump, or anyone working for him or on his behalf, discussed with you at any time and in any manner the investigations of 1. Russian interference in the 2016 election, 2. Alleged coordination between individuals associated with the Trump campaign and Russian operatives, or 3. Any associated investigations of obstruction of justice or other matters? If so, how did you respond? And if not, what will you do if these matters are ever raised with you in the future? And will you commit to informing this committee? It seems to me really important for the Senate to figure out, did Donald Trump talk to Christopher Wray about any of these matters? And did he express in the course of doing so any expectation, as he did with Comey, as to how Wray would hire them? If the answer to that question is yes, that's extremely disturbing. And it would be very important to know how Wray responded to that. Did he answer the president's questions if there were any, or did he say, Mr. President, it's completely inappropriate to discuss that? And then finally, it's really important that the Senate Judiciary Committee get his commitment that if in the future there are contacts on live investigative matters from the president or the White House, particularly live investigative matters that directly implicate the president's personal interests, like the Russia investigation, that the committee is going to learn about it. And so I would want the committee to exact that commitment from the nominee. Numbers 6 and 7. Has President Trump or anyone working for him or on his behalf discussed with you any of the alleged deficiencies in James Comey's performance of his duties or leadership of the FBI that supposedly led to his dismissal? And has President Trump or anyone working for him or on his behalf discussed with you the administration's expectations as to your performance as director of the FBI and how it would or should differ from that of James Comey? The White House has given wildly conflicting accounts of the reason for Comey's termination. When Comey was first fired, the White House released a memo from the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, complaining about the way Comey had handled the Clinton email matter and how unfair that was to Mrs. Clinton. Within a few days, however, the president had said on NBC that actually he just really didn't like the Russia investigation. And the following day, he described Jim Comey as a nut job. And he also has said publicly that the FBI was in chaos under Comey. I think if you're going to be the new FBI director after your predecessor has been removed in a fashion like that, it's actually a really interesting question. What did the president tell Wray about what the problems were with Comey's leadership? Moreover, has the president expressed to Wray any expectations of Wray's performance? And anything that the president may have communicated to his new FBI director about his expectations of Wray's performance strikes me as inherently important at this point. Number 13. Does James Comey's testimony as to the pressure he felt from President Trump on investigative matters while he was in office give you any anxiety about your own ability to function effectively in the director's role? If not, why are you confident that you will not face similar pressure with respect to investigative matters concerning the president and his personal interests, or for that matter, other investigative matters in which he might take an interest? Now, by accepting the nomination, Wray seems to be implying that he does not have anxiety on that score, since no responsible prosecutor or investigator would knowingly take a job in which he believed he wouldn't be able to function independently of politics. And that raises the question to me of why he has that confidence and what basis, given Trump's behavior toward Comey, he has to believe that he would not be subject to similar political pressures. Number 14. Does James Comey's sudden termination give you any anxiety about your own ability to function effectively in the director's role? If not, why are you confident that you will not face a similarly abrupt loss of presidential confidence when you do not handle some specific investigative matter in a fashion congenial to the president and his personal interests? Moreover, how will you ensure that fear of termination for political reasons does not in any way affect your decision-making in office? The removal of Comey suddenly and while he was giving a speech in California to FBI agents with no notice out of the blue should be of particular concern to anybody purporting to step in and do the same job. I'm a little bit puzzled as to why, after the removal of Comey, why Wray thinks he will simply be able to walk in, do the job independent of politics, and not have to worry every day that he is going to be removed in a particularly humiliating fashion. If you do believe that you might be removed at any day in a particularly humiliating fashion, that has a tendency to affect the way you do your job. And so I would be interested to hear from Wray about why he's confident that fear of termination will not impair his ability to be effective in the role, and also won't affect his decision-making so that he doesn't antagonize the president and precipitate his own removal. Number 20, given the circumstances of your appointment, your predecessor's dismissal, and the president's behavior toward him, why do you want to be director of the FBI? So all of these questions adds up to one thing to me. I can't imagine why anybody would want this job under these circumstances. This is a situation in which the president, almost from the time he entered into office, put pressure on the FBI director to do his job in a fashion that was frankly unethical, put him in the position of having to shield the Bureau from political interference from the White House, then summarily removed him in a humiliating fashion, and then publicly lied over and over again about the reasons for that removal and the factors that went into this. And under those circumstances, when a person with a significant professional reputation takes that job, you have to ask, why do you want it? And that's the fundamental question I have for Chris Wray.